So you bought yourself a laser ultra short throw projector and that white wall just isn't working out? Well, let's try and help you with that. Laser UST projectors are in, although they're still fairly niche. And if you don't know what those are, it's basically a projector that only needs a length of a ruler to project a full-size image, solving one of the biggest problems of owning a projector: space. And if your room hasn't got 30 centimeters of space, then you should probably move. I mean, where the hell are you living? Laser projectors normally have better color and contrast than traditional projectors, and the real bonus is the laser itself actually lasts about 3 times longer, so you should never need to change it unless you keep it for like 15 years. Sounds like a no-brainer, right? Well, there is a catch, and that is you can't really use a white wall. Well, you can, but you wouldn't want to, because this is what happens when you use a white wall. You see every single imperfection on that wall. It's just like shining a torch under your face. It doesn't look nice, does it? It's not even the projector's fault, it's just how light works, and at that angle it has no choice but to show everything. So what's the solution? Ambient light rejection, or ALR, is a special screen technology where light is only reflected from one angle and rejected from all others. How does it work? Well, it's the same technique used in those old 3D pictures where you tilt it and you would see 2 different images. But in this case, instead of using an image, one side is white and the other is black. They just use nanotechnology to scale it down. Unfortunately, because of this, the cost of production is high, which is why these screens cost so damn much. Today we're looking at the ACME PET Crystal Black Diamond ALR screen. Wait, wasn't ACME the company from Roadrunner? It turns out it jumps out of Looney Tunes into the real world. So this product is direct from China, so you do need to import. Why go through the trouble? Well, price. The Americans want over £1,000 for their version, and the British, well, we don't actually make any. But they have no problems taxing it on the way in, so I was hit with £70 import tax, bringing the total up to £400. Thanks UK Customs! So it's not cheap, but still better than £1,000.
When you first receive it, it's just a large cardboard box, but it's got corner protectors, which is a nice touch. Once you open it up, you see all the parts. You should have all the sections for the frame, and then some screws and fittings, as well as springs to tension the screen. So the first step is to assemble the frame, which is fully aluminium, with a nice build quality, although some rough edges. It's all held together by screws, and there's 4 corner brackets that actually hold the frame together. Overall, it feels really solid, and fit and finish is decent but not amazing. After you install the rear crossbar for support, the frame is now done. Now you have to really carefully unfold the screen material. You have to be careful because it's very fragile, and it's where most of the production cost goes into. The white gloves we're using were actually provided in the pack. Now the next step is to tension the screen, which is done by 75 different springs. Now there is actually an order you're supposed to do the springs in. This will be labelled in the instructions. Once you screw in the front bezel, the screen is done. Time to screw it into the wall. Now my current setup actually isn't too bad. It's just a wall that's been painted grey, and I've added velvet tape to make a border. It looks nice in the room and it works quite well, and it only costs £50. The installation is actually quite easy. You just need to drill some holes and put some wall plugs in, and the brackets then screw right in. After that, the screen just latches straight onto the top. You do need to make sure it's a solid wall you're drilling into. Don't try this on plasterboard. Once the screen's on, just align your projector and away you go. So here we have a side-by-side comparison with the grey wall on the left and the PET crystal on the right. We have the house lights turned on, and as you can see, the ALR screen has better contrast and is slightly sharper. Also note that the area around the ALR screen is darker as well because it only reflects light towards the viewer. Here's the same test with the lights off. Straight away it's much closer. The PET crystal still looks better, but only slightly. Black levels are better because again the light is only reflected towards the viewer and not scattered around the walls.
So what did we learn? The technology actually works. Turning lights on doesn't actually affect the picture much. And because the screen is more flat than the wall, you actually get a slightly sharper image. Now daylight performance is where you see the biggest difference. Before I bought the screen, the marketing implied that daylight doesn't affect the screen at all. That's a lie. Why? Physics.
Yes, science!
The projector isn't magic. It can't take away light that's already there. It hasn't got a built-in black hole. So in daylight, your black levels are limited to however dark the screen can get without any projection. So it's not that daylight doesn't affect the image, it's just that the screen makes the image better than it would have been. In bright scenes, you don't actually notice the black levels, which is exactly why in demos they only ever show you bright images. In a dark scene, that all too familiar washed out look appears. So is it worth it? Yes and no. Don't you just hate it when people say that? In terms of value, no, just no. My painted wall cost £50 and performs about 80% the same as a screen. Now it's important to note you do need to sand the wall completely flat for this to work. So at £400, it's definitely better, just not £400 better. At the time of this review, that's just how much technology costs. So in the future, maybe when it's at half the price, then I would say it's worth it. So to sum up, if, like me, you love films and you want the best and you don't mind paying for it, then get one of these. If you just want it to be pretty good without spending much money, then definitely go with the painted wall. And the color code you need is on screen now. I hope this helps you decide if you want to get one of these. If you have any questions for me, leave a comment. Even if it's not a question, that's fine, leave a comment. And thanks for watching. I will see you next time.